All right, we should be up and running. Market's been closed for about 5 minutes, so let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for April 4th, 2022. Qs up 2%, SPY up 0.88, and IWM up just 0.21 there. Coming into today, we were looking to see what the hourly sell setup would look like, okay? Because we had this little tiny, as I said, really shallow baby kind of buy setup here, but a buy setup in the context of an uptrend. Question was, could we actually pull back to the rising 20 on the daily, or was this hourly sell setup gonna fail? Okay, so that was the thing that I was looking for today. We pulled back a bit. All right, short-term bearish, but once we get the sell set up, right, that'll give us more information. Okay, we do have some time frame conflict just between the hourly and the other time frames. And we really today just, I mean, if you call that a sell setup, it technically is. It is barely a sell setup though, and it failed on it right away. I was kind of thinking, okay, we'll find out maybe in the afternoon or even on Tuesday, but instead, right back up. I was looking for this declining 20 MA to be a significant area. It wasn't at all for the Qs. SPY ended up, that is where the sell setup happened, and right back up. So what does that mean, right? Just as we outlined on Friday, that means coming into tomorrow, coming into the next day, that'll be bullish, okay? Hourly is no longer in a downtrend. Daily's already ended the downtrend, and weekly and monthly have got the nice bounce. Monthly is a buy setup. Okay, here's the monthly buy setup. So you can see the similarities here. Kind of, you have this hourly, very shallow pullback on a very impressive run up. Daily, very impressive run up, very shallow pullback. Okay, it's more common, obviously, in bullish markets. All right, let's go over the plays from today. First play this morning was the PLX. Okay, PLX. Played it. I liked this buy setup here. It was a little bit deep, but that's not uncommon for some of these lower price names. So you can see it ran up first. I didn't play the initial run up. And then on the pullback, all right, was a 2 minute. I think 5 minute even had a buy setup there. Okay. There it is. The 2 minute buy setup there. And so that was the first entry. We did take half at 175. Okay, as that trailed there. Daily, I was looking for something closer to 180, 185 initially, and we broke to 179. Said, okay, let's go ahead and take some. The very next move up, after we took some there, did go up to the target. Didn't take any there, kind of stuck with it, and then decided to trail it underneath that little pivot there on the 5. You can see, so it pulled in, tried to move back up, and then trailed it right there. Now, we talked about last week, the re-entry rule. I said you can get back in on this right over 171. Stop goes under 165. And but I didn't do it. I waited for another entry and ended up being this little pullback right here. So another buy setup. Talked about quite a few buy setups on different time frames today. Did that little buy setup. But I knew that I was playing it kind of late. I got shaken out of my original entry, which ended up being a very good entry. Very nice follow through. Max on this ended up being over 3 Rs. But I got shaken out. And then instead of doing the re-entry play, I waited for the next entry. I liked that entry. But ended up killing it break even because I thought that if we're going to go back up, we should go right back up. Because, if the momentum is there, that's what I'm trying to catch. It's not that solid of an entry just because we've already moved up so much. Okay, and we also moved up into a whole number. The original play would have been, has already reached beyond 3 Rs. So I knew it was a bit of aggressive. We did kill it break even, which is good because that would have failed. But of course, getting shaken out of the play, that's not good. But I didn't see us having anywhere else to trail to. Could have gone arbitrarily to break even or back to kind of where we were, which was down at the bottom, low of the day. So that ended up being the trail. If I had stuck to management, it would have been underneath the hourly here, which would have been under 176. So would have been kind of close to our first entry. That would have been a little bit better. We still made some on that back half when it got trailed, but still missed out on the real targets there. Okay, on the PLX. That's okay though. I thought that was the right thing to do at the time. All right, and then YSG was the next one. A lot of Chinese names bullish today, and so I just really like the pattern we got here. Really tight base. I thought it was really nice looking on the 15. Continuing this trend that we've been seeing where a lot of penny stocks putting in some of the nicest patterns here and then just trailed it into the end of the day. So we got to the last 30 minutes there. So not too bad. Very tight stop. It was only a 3-cent stop. A little bit less than actually because got it, because now we are dealing with fractions of a penny as far as entries and stops and things because, these things don't move enough that much. So you don't really need to give it the full penny. And then, so on this, ended up being pretty decent there. Here's the daily. You can see definitely volume coming into this today. A lot of Chinese names bullish. I thought this showed some of the most bullishness, so that's why I wanted to go after it. All right, on the YSG. Okay. So, not a lot today, but I thought if you were picky enough, you stayed out of trouble. As I have been doing, you've seen me do it on the mic the last 3 weeks, I think. I'm not that aggressive at the open. And then once the patterns start to materialize a little bit, I want multi-bar patterns as opposed to high lows. Then I start to kind of ramp up the aggressiveness. One that we passed on was the GGPI. Now, this is a good example, this GGPI, of the sloppiness at the open. Why? Because at the open, I think that's a fine entry right there. That's an okay entry. Now, you do get a little bit of follow through, about an R there as a high low. That's good, but look, it failed. Now, you look at this and you say, well, maybe the rest of this wasn't that good. Maybe this wasn't meant to go up today, whatever. But, look at it. Look at how it closed. Look at how it moved up. So if you let some of that sloppiness, which it was very sloppy, you can see very sloppy in the beginning. You might have been thinking also when that failed, maybe it's a short. Well, you can see it probably wasn't a short because it took out the lows and then went back up. Okay, so this was a pro gap, so of course we'd be preferring to play this long, really only should be playing this long. So there is sloppiness at the open. There is stuff that's going to work, but for the most part, I'm just letting some of that sloppiness kind of go until they give us nice, cleaner patterns. Okay, so that's going to be the continued approach going into the rest of the week. It's been the way it is for the last couple of weeks. I felt like that's really benefited us, keeping us out of trouble, but still catching good plays. Okay, so that's what I'm going to continue to do. All right. Hope you did well today. We'll be back at it tomorrow, and I'll talk to you then. Have a good evening.